Time now for Reporters Roundtable to put the headlines in perspective. Bud and Patrick both still with us. Patrick, let's start with you and the bombshell news of last week. Speaker Strauss not running for re-election. Who's best positioned to take the gavel right now?
Oh, I think it's way too early to tell, honestly. I mean, I've heard as many as a dozen names as potential candidates to succeed Speaker Strauss. I think the caucus right now has a working group looking into their own procedures for rallying behind a speaker candidate. That was a discussion that began before the speaker's bombshell announcement. And so I think there are just a lot of variables right now. And I think that it's way too early to say even kind of what the ideological profile would be of the next speaker.
Strauss has $10 million in campaign funds, Bud. What happens to that?
He's got plenty to spend. He says he's going to support like-minded candidates. And, you know, this is a close race in March in the Republican primary. The decisions in Texas are made in March in the party primaries. And these are some close races. Democrats have a chance to win at least 3 or 5 seats back. You know, Republicans, it'll be, you know, Strauss Republicans against Freedom Caucus Republicans in some of those races. If he puts his money towards some key candidates, then he can keep the House on the moderate strip.
With his retirement, you think this could impact a number of races?
Well, he could put the money behind candidates. You know,
okay.
The thing to look at as far as who's the next speaker is that, you know, 2 of the last 3 speakers have been from West Texas. What you have in a situation like this is that rural Republicans with an interest in school education tend to align with Democrats and elect a speaker who's interested in public education. That's how it's worked before.
Patrick, let's pick up on what Bud mentioned with the primaries only 4 months away. How does Speaker Strauss's retirement affect any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think given the amount of money that he has in his campaign accounts, and given the fact that he is basically politically freed from having to govern over the House in 2019, he can engage in elections in 2018, particularly primaries, in ways that he couldn't previously, knowing that he'd have to come back for another session and work with a lot of these people. And so I expect him to be much more aggressively involved in the primaries, either you know, by campaigning for candidates, giving money to candidates. I just expect a much more muscular presence overall by the speaker in primaries.
You know, Jason, also it takes away the scapegoat. For years they blamed Dewhurst, and they said if we could just get rid of Dewhurst, all this conservative legislation gets passed. Now they've done the same with Strauss. It takes him out of play in that role. You know, but it also puts Governor Abbott in a position of, you know, does he become the scapegoat now if the Dan Patrick's agenda doesn't pass?
Let me switch off to Trump in the final moments here too. He had no trouble taking on big checks from Dallas. 30 seconds left here, Bud. Does this mean the Texas party is falling in line behind him?
Republicans in general seem to like the way the economy's going. They like tax cuts. They say that they can back him off the wall.
Gotcha. Bud, thank you very much. Patrick, we appreciate having you as well. Thank you. And thank you for watching as well, too. We'll see you again next Sunday. Hope you have a good week.